I'm singing along. Welcome to Pillow Talk with Angela. I'm your host, Angela Stribling, and I brought a couple of my good friends back. They are a go-to when it comes to relationships. Both of them, a married couple. Actually, they've been married for quite a few years, young as they look. And they co-wrote a book, which I absolutely love. Apparently, they interviewed all these different couples who are going through different things. You know, we all go through things, but to get people to actually tell the truth about what they're going through, it helps everybody who reads the book. So the book is called Secrets of Strong Couples. And I just want to suggest that everybody pick this book up. Let's bring them in. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see them. Julie and David Bulitt. Hi.
Hello, Angela.
Hey, Angela, how are you?
I'm good. The Bullits are here. And for people that just know what qualifies you, I mean, now, Julie, let me get your titles right here. She's been doing her thing. Licensed clinical social worker. Spent more than 25 years working with individuals, couples, and families. And, I love that. Now, David, he works kind of on the other end of the spectrum, but boy, are you one to definitely have the references. Joseph Greenwald and Lake, I hope I'm saying it right. That's the law firm, and he's a celebrated divorce lawyer for many, many, many years. So they, you've got all the ends of the spectrum going, right? I mean, you see them when they're together and struggling, and then then they come to you, David, if they just can't figure it out.
Yeah, if they can't do the work in my office, then they end up in his office and ending the relationship.
Yeah. In reading your book, I so enjoyed it because it covers so many different things that couples go through. And there's probably room for, book 2, right? Because there's so much that you don't even think about. So let's talk about what led you to write this book and do it this way.
So our first book was very conversational between the two of us. I think you looked at that also, but that was more our stories, what we saw in our offices specifically, what we experienced in our own personal lives specifically, and we had the thought that both of us have seen families go through terrible traumas, right? Very, very difficult things, whether it be death of a child, illness, addiction, runaway, and various other things. And we started talking about, well, how is it that some couples who deal with these horrible, horrible things, very difficult things, how do they get through it, come to the other side, and they're, like I said, they're holding hands, walking down the beach, or they're even stronger than they were before? How do they get through it when other people, and I joke about this, when other people, come to my office sometimes because they say they had a bad weekend, and so how did they do it, and what can the rest of us learn from them? And that was sort of the jump off point for this book.
Yeah. And David, you say it jokingly, but sometimes it just takes that one strong argument, is that how you really feel? And then I'm out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Well, we're all wired to sort of have a fight and flight response. So oftentimes what happens when people start to have conflict is that they want to get the heck out, whether it's, out of a job or a relationship or anything. So it can happen very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. But, people figure out tools either through therapists or talking to friends. All this I'm picking up from things that you say in your book. I love how you have the couples tell their story, and then you'll give your own summation, right? I mean, that's so good, your takeaway, and then just your own bullet points. I absolutely loved it, and it's such a quick read. I mean, I read it so quickly, and it's just congratulations. It's good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, with the setup of the book, because we do look at things differently, and the conversations that we would have after these interviews, oftentimes Julie and myself looked at things differently. So it wasn't just, they got through it, they're good. It was, well, hold on a second. what happened here and what happened there?
Mhm.
Should he have done this? Should she have done that? Should they have done whatever
Mhm.
it may be? And so we thought that was an interesting take, again, coming from very different chairs, right? You know, me on the divorce world, her on the let's keep them together world.
Yeah.
And male, female. It's always
Yeah.
going to be a different perspective. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. It was a lot of work to write, but it was also fun because interviewing people and hearing their stories is just fascinating. I never get sick of hearing people's stories. So, yeah, I've been doing this now. My bio said 25 years. It's actually closer probably to 30 plus years of being a therapist. And I may not remember people's names, but I remember their stories. And
There you go.
I think that, you know, for us, hearing from people and hearing, you know, sort of the guts of their relationship is very cool. And, you know, I love what you said, Angela, which is that we don't often talk about the things that are hard. And, you know, it's sort of very interesting perspective because what we do is talk about, you know, sort of the inner workings of relationships. And a lot of people don't want to admit, you know, if they're having, you know, difficulty in their relationship or they have questions about, you know, whether they want to be in a relationship with somebody. We just don't talk about it. And I think just like mental health issues, we need to talk about more. I think we need to talk about relationship issues and normalize that it's hard.
I totally agree with that. I mean, and being able to say things like that, even admitting things to yourself, you know, when
Mhm.
you're in a relationship that, I mean, we know we're flawed. We know that in relationships we've had prior to this one, you might have struggled with the same types of things, but getting yourself to really look in the mirror and have that tough talk and say, you know what? I could be the problem. And to start working on that and to be able to communicate that honestly in a relationship and in front of someone who is going to put it in a book. That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that there. I mean, that is a game changer for a lot of people because like you said, like we said, people don't want to admit it because everybody wants to save face and you look like a great couple. Nobody wants to, you know, ruin that image and say, you know, we're struggling.
Yes,
I
exactly.
mean, there was a lot of courage. These people showed a
Mhm.
lot of courage.
Yep.
And in some cases, in the face of, you know, unbelievable pain,
Mhm.
really,
Mhm.
in a couple of circumstances that I can think of particularly.
Mhm.
Yet they sat down
Mhm.
and honestly told us how did they
Mhm.
manage not just the story of the issue, whatever it
Mhm.
gave rise to, but
Yep.
how did they manage through it? And sometimes they did different things.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
we had, you know, sometimes one partner spent a lot of time talking to friends, going to therapy, and the other one was more of, you know, quiet and kept
Mhm.
things more inside. But
Yep.
you know, it was interesting, and it was very, very touching in a lot of ways. Really was. We were
Yeah.
honored to be that these folks would take their time, hours, by the way, you know, and Julie handled the interviews, and
Good job.
4, 5, 6
Thank you.
hours at a time. I mean,
Yeah.
it was not, you know, a quick cup of coffee and we'll see you later. It was in-depth stuff. And the reason I know that is because I would get her notes that would be single space, no punctuation, and I was supposed to figure it all out. So
You're like, this is a lot, babe.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And really,
awesome.
and really figuring out what to put in because there's so much more to the
Yeah.
interview than what got in the book. This is the book, Secret of Strong Couples.
There you
Um,
go.
And yeah, so it was a lot of fun, a lot of work. But we hope that it helps other couples, you know, get through difficult times or just have the courage to talk about things.
Oh, it definitely will. Let's get into it. So there's a topic that we actually had last week, and I would love to get your take on it, both of you separately. The whole idea, it came actually from an Instagram post. Some guy is, you know, saying, hey, women, you say you're the prize, but you're dating just one guy at a time when you're looking to get married, which means you're putting all of your eggs in one basket. So he said, I'm not going to call you the prize. I'm going to call you a participant. And strongly said, look, if you're looking to get married, give everybody a chance. Date multiple people at once until you get that far and away person that steps up and asks you to marry him and that you want to marry. Go. Who wants to go first?
Well,
What is
so
your
Bachelor,
thoughts?
by the way. But
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. No, I'm sort of like processing it because like sometimes we say don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's this guy's sort of process or thinking strategy, if you will, right? And that may work for some people, but quite honestly, I'm not sure that you can give your full attention to a relationship if you're dating multiple people at a time. I mean, personally, that would be really hard for me to do. So again, I don't want to, you know, make a disclaimer here that that's not a good strategy, but for the guy that it might be, but I don't think that's for everybody.
It's not a buffet, right? I mean, it's not like, oh, let's go up and have a little mac and cheese, a little fried chicken, a little this, a little that, and see what we like. These are human beings. So to me, I suppose that some people have the bandwidth to balance dating 3 or 4 people at a time. Some people may, and find enjoyment in that. But I'm not so certain that doing that doesn't automatically, in some ways, make it more difficult to develop a relationship with someone that you may see more in, because that person, if you're being honest with that person, they know that you're seeing these other 6 people, 3 people, 9 people, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It might not be as open, right? So I'm not sure I buy into his thing. I mean, it might be one thing. I mean, listen, Julie was dating somebody when she met me, so there was a little overlap. But you're talking about somebody going out there and just saying, okay, I'm going to take 3 from door number 1 and 2 from 2, and then we're going to see how it goes. And I'm not sure. And that may, by the way, that may be why that person is still single. So
yeah.
Exactly. Well, he's trying to give advice to women. I don't, for me, I could never do that. I mean, I break out in hives, from just, I mean, I need all of your attention and I need to give you all of my attention. If that doesn't work out, then we're just going to start over with somebody else.
Then you move on. But I do think that it would be quite tricky and difficult and plus you're playing with people's feelings.
Sure.
And I'm not sure it's the kindest way to, maybe if you're looking for a job, that's a great strategy. Like put as many resumes in as you can. Right. But I'm not sure with dating
think about it. I mean, you and I are seeing each other, right, Angela? And you tell me, well, I'm also seeing A and B, whoever they are. Mm-hmm. And that can be hurtful to me or bring out jealousy or whatever it may be. And that emotion can then have an adverse effect on what our relationship might otherwise be. I find that to be a tough one generally, but anybody can give whatever advice they want, I suppose.
Sure.
I love it. And one would hope that the person is, honest enough in the beginning to let you know
that too.
Yeah. There are plenty of situations where, one is dating multiple people, but partners don't know it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, that leads to other issues, right?
Issues.
Trust issues later on if someone finds out like, hey, you were seeing more than one person, I wasn't the only one. I
agree with both of you. I mean, I think, I mean, maybe there are people who are just, serial daters and can do it. That's what they, you get to kind of have the life, whatever it is that you want to do. I think if that's something that you are doing, just have the dignity and give the person enough respect to be honest and let them know this is what you're doing. And as David said, just at least from the beginning, what you're dealing with and you have the option of, entering it.
So when I met David, the night that I met David, I was dating somebody else. And I was upfront with him. I actually had told my friend that I was going to go out and meet somebody else because this guy wasn't, treating me the way that I should be treated. So David knew that I was seeing somebody else. And it took me just like 2 weeks to figure out, like, I'm going with this guy. This guy is a good guy. This other guy is like inconsistent and not the guy for me. But it didn't take me too long to figure it out.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, and that's different. I think,
Yeah.
you know, it oftentimes happens that way. I was in that same situation, and so was my husband. We were both seeing someone when the sparks were flying, and we
Yeah.
were honest about it with each other. You know, I was like, "Look, I'm in this situation. It's
Mhm.
not, I know." And the person I was dating, knew I wasn't going to marry him. You know, we had that
Mhm.
conversation, and so quickly, just like you, Julie, it was like, "Okay, I'm sorry, this isn't working out." And then
Right.
went to my person, thankfully found my person.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I wonder if
respectful.
that guy's going to still be giving that same advice 5 years from now. I guess you'll see what happens.
Yeah.
That's funny. I
Mhm.
love it. Okay, so listen, when reading your book, Secrets of Strong Couples, I thought, okay, goals for couples. And that is
Mhm.
something you two believe in and strongly recommend. I can't say I've ever thought about that. And so let's talk about it. Let's get into what that is. I mean, people are oftentimes goal oriented and they create
Mhm.
goals for themselves, but what a great idea. So could you guys tell us
Yeah.
what it is and then how do you go about doing it?
So I want Julie to tell us about what we did. What she brought this to us to do. But we talk about this a lot when we go to businesses and companies, talk to CFOs and CEOs and people in businesses in their groups and so forth. And I always ask, I always start with these groups with the same questions, right? How many of you out there at the beginning of the year, the end of the previous year, make a business plan for the next year? All the hands
Yeah.
go. How many of you have goals for your business,
Mhm.
quarterly goals,
Mhm.
whatever they may be, sales, hiring, expansion, whatever they may be? All your hands, all
Yeah.
their hands. How many have these kinds of goals? Everybody's hands up, up, up. And how many of you are involved in a relationship? Most of them raise their hands. So if you folks in a relationship, how many of you make goals with your partner? Not a hand.
Not a one.
Yeah,
So
we've
so how
actually had like maybe one or two couples over the
over
years
the years,
that
but how do
actually
you?
do that, but
Yeah,
not many
yeah. So how do
Over the
you?
years.
over the
The
years.
most
Yeah.
important relationship that you
Mhm.
have,
Yep.
how do you not give it the same attention that you give to your business, which is obviously important because you want to go somewhere, you want to be somewhere, whether it's 6 months, a year, 5 years. How do you not do that? And so we think overall goals is really, goal setting is really important.
Yep.
Julie was the one who
Mhm.
really, sort of shoved this down. I don't want to say shoved it down my throat, but she came up
Suggested it.
strongly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Strongly suggested.
strongly suggested it. So every year on our anniversary, which we just celebrated 37 years,
Happy anniversary.
August 9th. So we just did our goals for the year. And what we do is we have a special little notebook that we carry around with us. And we just sit down on our anniversary and write down a few goals. Sometimes they're the same goals from last year, but generally there's financial goals, there's intimacy goals, there's communication goals. Sometimes there, when the kids were little, there was parenting goals. And it can be really anything from let's save for a vacation to let's make sure that we're doing 2 date nights a week, or let's be intimate 2 or 3 times a week, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They're your goals. And then every few months we check in to kind of see how we're doing with the goals. And then on our anniversary we look back to see how we've done.
Yeah, and what
I
we try to do,
love
Andrew, is and we talk about this, separate them into two columns, right? What we like to call achievable ones and aspirational ones. And those can
Okay.
be anything. So the ones that are achievable, you might say, okay, we're going to have intimacy 3 times a week or more frequently than we did last year. That's certainly something that is for most of us is achievable. The ones that might be aspirational are, I want to buy that house on the beach. I want to get that mountain house. Or I want to go to France. I want to do this or that. So that may show up on your goal list for 2 or 3 years, but you think to yourself, am I any closer to that? Well, yeah, now I've got $3,000 in the bank for this trip, or we're saving for our daughter's college or whatever it may be. So if you break them into ones that are achievable and ones that are aspirational, then people don't get as frustrated by saying, I'm never going to be able to do that.
Exactly. Now, is
Yeah.
this that you each do it separately and then come together with it, or do
No,
you
we do
sit
it
down?
together. We do it together. Now we both of us do our own goals, you know, he has a notebook and I write down some things on my computer. So we do individual goals but this is just relationship. It's all together. So
I love that whole concept. It's great. I mean, it's new. I hadn't even thought about that. And I'm one of those goal-oriented people with a to-do list and what I want to accomplish tomorrow and all that stuff. Yeah. Why not? Why not?
Get a little notebook. I know you just had your anniversary, so start this year.
Yeah, we'll start this year. We'll probably start maybe later tonight. I don't know.
Tell him I'm sorry if it's going.
I'll shove it down his throat.
I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. And it's also really it's fun to also look back. Like we can go back. We've been doing it for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Oh,
we go back and look and kind of, remember that goal? We never did that, or we did do that. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it. I used to do these, and actually, I should start doing that again. Those goal boards where you can go through magazines and cut out the pictures.
Vision boards.
A vision board. That would be a good idea to do.
Yeah. You could do a vision board for your relationship. That would be very fun.
Why not? It'd be fun to kind of. I guess they'd pile up, but what the heck? Why not? You figure something out. I love it.
If you see it enough, you keep seeing it. It's like practice makes perfect, right? Yeah. Or if and you're in radio, and when somebody talks to you about advertising in radio, they're not told just to run one ad. You got to run them over and over and over again. That's how they sink in. And it's the same thing. This is the same thing. You start to say, okay, well, how am I doing? Am I doing well? Am I getting here? Am I getting there? And it's not like it's that time consuming, because after a while it just becomes part of your day.
Yeah.
I like that you two kind of look at it and, reevaluate and say, okay, did we come close? Or, maybe tweak it a little bit, taking, you ever take some things off, that you're like, well,
because our perspectives change.
Well, we learned the 2-step that was on our goal list for last year. I'm not very good at it, but we learned it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, that's so cute.
I like to go to Nashville, so I wanted her to learn it, so I didn't have to dance with some stranger. So here in our family room, actually, on the big screen, and move the table out of the way.
Yep. So that came off.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would have thought we're going to be something that we wanted or wanted to get to. What lives are. Sands shift in our lives. So sometimes your goals may change. You may say, we don't really need to, that's not really something we want to do anymore. We want to do this instead. And that's perfectly fine. There's no rules to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How fun though. And yet that's a great bonding thing to do. It brings you close.
It is. It is. You sit down at the end of the night, we'll have a cocktail or, have a drink, glass of wine, or she will, I'll have a whiskey or whatever it is. But sing a couple minutes together and, it's kind of fun, right? You put your feet up and look where we are. Have we done this? And you might laugh or you might say, hey, you didn't get that done yet. Or we didn't do this.
Yep.
So it's.
I love it.
Try it.
I mean, just like your book, you've got tons of good advice. So that's yet another one. I want to congratulate both of you. I mean, it's like I said, it's a good read. Things I didn't expect. I mean, you even go into, people who are parents to kids who want to change their gender and how that affects the couple and the marriage.
Yes.
Everything you can think of. And like I said, there's probably some things that maybe you didn't think of that, could come out in yet another book. Good stuff. Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. And on our website, we have a specific place for couples to tell their story. So if anybody reads it or anybody thinks they have a story that, they'd like to tell, they can go on our website and, send us a message, and there may be another book. So there's more stories out there. So it'd be really cool to hear from people that have had struggles.
There's no shortage of stories.
Yes.
We all
no shortage of stories. Now I'm going to put your website in the comments section, but for now, tell us your website.
It's www.thebullits, TheBullitts.com. And we're on all social media platforms as The Bullits, TheBullitts. So
perfect.
At the Bullits. So
and
it's not hard to find us, spell it right.
Yeah.
Right. But you
Yeah.
also say that at the end of the book, you encourage people to go to your website.
Yes.
We do. We
Yes.
do. We really were hoping.
I read it.
We're hoping that people will, and we've gotten a few notes. I mean, the book just came out a month or so ago, and the audiobook just came out about a week, 10 days ago. So a lot of folks who prefer, to listen to their books when they're driving or commuting or whatever the case may be. So we're really proud of it. We're proud of the people who came to us, and we're frankly, I'm proud that we got it done, because it was 5 years. It was a lot of time.
5 years.
5 years of interviews, of writing, of rewriting, of changing. It was a lot. It was a lot, and we were lucky to have some input along the way and some help. But it was a good experience, I think, for us. It really was.
Yeah.
So before we let you go, do you want to give us any inspiring words to the couples who are watching and who are going to get your book? Just, 5 years working on this one, you have another book, you've been doing this for so long. And just a quick takeaway, things that, to encourage people who are in love.
So what I would say is the most important thing in a relationship is to be able to talk about things, whether they're beautiful things or whether they're really dark, ugly things, and not to sweep things under the rug, because we see so many couples. I'm in my office, and then definitely in David's office, where, people just kind of let things go, and then they fester. And then they build, and then the resentment happens. And then you get in patterns of not communicating. So really talking and being open and vulnerable, that would be my takeaway.
Yeah, I'll be much pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on in your relationship. Don't close your eyes. Don't look the other way. Don't not talk about it because it's uncomfortable. Be aware and be willing to step up and talk about it. People don't pay attention to what's happening in their relationship. More often than not, those are the folks that end up in somebody who does what I do, their office. So pay attention and be aware.
Saying, I didn't see this coming.
No.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you just
paying attention.
Maybe you didn't, but you probably should have.
Yeah.
There you go. You also mentioned the 3 C's. Just tell us what the 3 C's are.
Yeah. So we came up with the strategy of the 3 C's because we often get asked, people, like, what's something quick that we can do to help our relationship? So the 3 C's are communication, connection, whether that's intimacy, physical intimacy or emotional intimacy, and consistency, doing it consistently. And we find that if you're doing the 3 C's, that you're in a good place in your relationship.
Powerful. Thank you both so much, the Bullits.
Thank you.
On social media, again, it's just the Bullits on IG.
Bullits on all platforms. On, I don't want to say Twitter because now it's X, but on Facebook, on X, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and we have a YouTube channel as well. And so, on our website, we go and talk privately. We go to we do couples. We do some coaching with couples directly. Most of it has been via the computer, but we do them in person too. So
good. And it's good that you offer that on the computer. They can be anywhere in the world.
Yes, and we've talked to people all over the place, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad I brought you in closer here. They'd see those beautiful faces.
Oh, yeah.
You don't look so bad either.
Yeah, you're beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, let's get that
one
up
more
there.
time. Plug for the book one more time.
Secrets of Strong Couples. And you can see the correct spelling right there, Bulitt. And I'm glad unfortunately, I had it spelled, not on here, but when I was just writing, I was spelling it totally wrong. I was like, well, wait a minute. Gotta get it right.
No worries.
Thank you both so much for spending the time with us this evening. Yeah,
Thank
really
you. So good to see you again.
So good to see you again, too. Happy anniversary. We're the August people, right?
We are. Enjoy it. Let us know how it goes tonight with the list and all.
I will. Circle back.
Right.
I think he'll like it, though. He's game for it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'll let you know.
If he doesn't, don't give him our telephone number.
Right. I was saying, they did this to me. Thank you guys so much.
Right.
Have a good
Thank you so
night.
much.
See ya.